And
Yes,
once again, welcome everybody. Of course, this is Laura Van LaRusso, and my name is Dr. Keith McNally, and this is Coach to Coach. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Keith. Great to see you again.
Always, always. And so today, I think I missed the mark, and so I think Mental Health Month was come and gone, but
Mm,
I am continuing with mental health issues
good.
because I need them and I need to discuss them. But
We
they're
all need
also
them.
but they're also important in the field of coaching because we always address um, there's always a mental health block. And so, and I don't mean that we're diagnosing people, and I neither have the credentials to do that, neither does Miss Laura, but
Nope.
we're really talking about how to stay mentally, physically, emotionally, and possibly even spiritually fit day in and day out as you walk into your coaching office, whether that's a real office or a virtual office, because we know that
Mhm.
when we have conversations with people, that can become very tiring, overwhelming, and quite frankly, it can be draining. And that's just because we're human. Humans interacting with other humans
Mhm.
can lead us into that direction. So,
Yes.
Laura, this was about how to help those coaches out there
Hmm.
just deal with that, but in a very positive way. And let's give them something that they could take away with today so that they are motivated and ready to take on tomorrow.
Great. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. We definitely need to support one another as coaches because we know that we are obviously in a service field, right? We are here to serve others. We're here to empower our clients, right? So that takes energy, that takes emotional strength, that takes the ability to listen with compassion and empathy.
Mm.
And so, yes, I agree. What are the skills we need? As coaches, I would recommend we set boundaries. We have to set boundaries, not only between ourselves and the work that we do, but between ourselves and even our daily routines of doing the everyday, right? We have to leave the computer. We have to get out of the office. We have to do any number of things so that we have the energy and stamina, right, to
Yeah.
serve people in a healthy way.
I love that. Boundaries is probably one of the first things they teach in coaching school, and there are schools to teach coaches how to be coaches and how to be better coaches. Because without proper boundaries, we kind of get confused. But more so to your point, without personal boundaries in, I'm going to stick to a routine. I'm going to eat healthy foods. I'm going to walk away from the computer because the computer itself, and I love that, the computer itself, especially those who are stepping into one Zoom conversation, another Zoom conversation, or whatever application you're using,
Right.
that can be both, that is physically exhausting, that is
Mhm.
mentally exhausting, and quite frankly, it can be emotionally exhausting as well, because
Oh,
you're
definitely.
reinvesting, you're recharging yourself with every conversation.
Mhm.
And looking into this webcam, looking into the monitor,
Right.
does suck the energy out of us.
Right. And, it's interesting. Like when we're speaking with people in person, we're not looking at our images at the same time. Right.
No, we
So
don't have a mirror over here and
that's
somebody else
right.
over here.
And thank goodness for that. But that in itself, I don't know about you, Keith, but I find that sort of draining also. We become hyper aware of ourselves and it's not healthy, really
Mhm.
not healthy.
I'm
Yeah.
hyper aware that I don't have any hair most of the time, so that's for sure. But what are some other things that coaches can do to kind of level the playing field for themselves? And I'll go back just quickly.
Mhm.
Physically, I had a heart attack like last October, so I'm like six,
Right.
7, 8 months, post heart attack, which was quite frankly for me a shock because I prided myself on exercise. I'm a person who does and loves exercise.
Mhm.
I like to feel my body move. So I do aerobics. I do a walk every day. I do 6 miles, and plus I hit the gym. Plus I, go outside and do yard work. And so
Right.
I need to move around. I need to move my body around.
Mhm.
On a daily basis. And I say that I started because I'm an asthmatic, but now it's habitual and routine. What are some of the things that for those coaches who are not necessarily a daily exerciser, but what would you recommend for at least, some kind of physical activity to kind of get the blood pumping again?
Well, I think any movement is good because I'm not a lover of exercise, so I'm like your polar opposite. But I do love swimming, for example. And so my husband and I have agreed that we're going to join the Y and have our summer membership, so we can both jump in, hopefully not fall in, jump into the pool and swim.
Cool.
What's my point? My point is you have to find that thing that you can do with satisfaction.
Mm,
And so you may not like to exercise, but pardon me, but you may find that there is at least some kind of exercise that you really enjoy. That's what you have to do. So you have to identify something that you would enjoy. That's not work, that's pleasurable, that's just for you to do for yourself. Right. So perhaps for you, it might be walking. And for me, it would be swimming. And for someone else, it might be joining an aerobics class. I have friends that are really into those dance classes, which I think is a lot of fun and a good way to exercise also. You have to identify what works for you and what you enjoy. That's the second step.
So,
Yes.
um, in a 9 to 5 job, it's the boss, the company has to legally give you, if you work 4 hours, like a 15-minute break or something like that, and then after 4 or 5 hours, you have to, it's a legal requirement to have a lunch break. So they are legally required to get you out of the office, or at least
Right.
your cubicle. Like don't be eating at your desk or don't be snacking at your desk. For coaches who are, independent entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
and I know lots of them,
Right.
that's a little bit different. So there's nobody pushing them away from their work. How can
Mhm.
we get into a mindset of let me step away for 10 minutes and
Mhm.
just meditate or breathe or go outside or something? That how do we get into that kind of routine of stepping away?
Well, I think that one thing I've noticed is as entrepreneurs, we all have some sort of a schedule. So, I mean, in the beginning, as a beginning baby, sort of baby entrepreneur, new to the work, you may not have a set schedule. But then as you notice your patterns, you will see that, oh, gee, at a certain time, I'm sort of done for a little bit. So for example, I generally get up and start working at about 7 a.m. and I'll work from 7 a.m. until about 1:30 or so, right? And
Okay.
all of a sudden I'll say, well, this seems like a reasonable time to take lunch. So, and I will deliberately close my computer
Okay.
because of course there's some kind of algorithm in these in this technology that I personally believe makes us keep wanting, there's an addictive nature. So I think it's very important. And when you go to eat or take a break or go for a walk or meditate or have a
Don't bring
snack,
your computer with you
right,
or
leave
your iPad.
away and put your phone down. Now, I know half the world is saying, oh God, how do we do that? But you have to do it. And why? Because it's obvious. You're in a service, you're acting professionally in a service capacity. So if you are constantly draining yourself, what can you possibly offer to any of your clients in a way that's helpful to them? We all know what it feels like to be irritable, hungry, just tired. And that's not good coaching practice, and it's not good human self-care treatment. It's not good self-care for your own self and for your own good. So
So
Walk away.
in an earlier episode of Coach to Coach, we talked about lifelong learning and constantly um, re-engaging in our profession or areas of interest, things that, and I think, dude, I'm trying to remember the word, upskilling was the word that
Yes, yes,
you
yes.
used. And I so, fell in love with that because you are taking yourself to the next level of expertise and sharpening your skills and honing your skills. And that's
Hmm.
probably also a part of being mentally prepared because sometimes the things that were important or the skills that we had last year or 6 months ago may no longer be relevant. Now, of course, that's dependent
True.
on your space that you're in, your area of expertise,
Hmm.
but go in there. But my focus here is sharpening your mind, keeping your
Right.
mind sharp. How does
Mhm.
that actually benefit us as coaches?
Well, I believe in always being a curious lifelong learner, and I think most coaches do feel this way. And those coaches that become frustrated or feel challenged, maybe they're very hard on themselves and feel like they're not making enough progress, in getting their prospects and getting their contract signed and having a real business for themselves. The thing is that change your mind because you can join a community of other coaches and you can connect with them and share how you're feeling and share your experiences and get feedback from them and objective feedback too, because some of them may not know you personally, but they professionally are connected. And that community, I found it very helpful for myself. And I would highly recommend that anyone else also do that as part of your self-care. It's always good to have a group of people that are interested in the same things that you're interested in and yet challenge you to be better, you know.
I like
So
that. And so I'll just add real quickly is that find your cheerleaders, find your support team. And I always say, learn the mastermind principle
yes.
because it's working together that we are all successful. I love that. So with that as it is, I want to pitch one more thing if I can.
Okay.
Laura, I am starting an Envision Speakers series. So it starts in July, and I'm taking a group of subject matter experts every month. I'm putting them together into a focused topical conversation. And in July, I am hosting and managing and facilitating and all the cool stuff, a
Yes.
conversation on men's mental health and suicide prevention. And so
Yes.
I just want to make everybody aware of that. Now, that's probably not the first, it's going to be the first time, but probably not the only time that I touch on mental health issues because it's
Mhm.
becoming more and more prevalent. The human race seems to be falling apart. And that's not an understatement whatsoever. And so with that, I will recircle around and talk about mental health issues across different spaces and different professionals. But with that, I want our audience to know that my book, Walking the Path, The
Yes.
Leader's Journey, is going to be used as a sponsor for these events. And so 50% of earned revenue from each sale of the book will go towards suicide prevention specifically. And so
Good.
with that, I'm looking for people to buy my book, if you would, and support my effort in preventing suicide. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you so much for this conversation. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. One more thing. What
Yes.
can people do today, right now, before they go to bed to
Yeah.
improve their mental health before they go to work tomorrow?
Reach out to those communities that will support you. There is an 800 hotline for suicide prevention, and there are a number of communities out there that will support new entrepreneurs. And for me, it's those entrepreneurs and those clients that speak English as a second language. So
Cool. Thank you so much. And this has been Coach to Coach with Laura Van LaRusso and Dr. Keith McNally. We'll see you next time. Take care.
bye.